All right, guys, the Los Angeles Lakers get their win that solidifies their position in the playoffs. We're going to look at it. Also, the Utah Jazz season is over. It's the Hoops Nerd postgame show. Guys, before we get started, make sure you go to prizepicks.com right now. Use promo code HoopsNerd. They will match up to $100 for new users. So if you haven't already, go to PrizePicks. Use promo code HoopsNerd. It's free money. It's on me. And it supports the channel. Plus, it's a lot of fun. I hit yesterday. It was a blast. I did not go today because I was not quite sure what the Jazz would be doing on a back-to-back. And you know what? I should have, because Kris Dunn was amazing 2 days in a row. Anyways, go to prizepicks.com. It would be fantastic. And if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it. All right, let's talk about the Lakers and the Jazz. We'll start off with the Lakers, and then we'll go to Utah. This game was interesting because the Lakers actually had something to play for. The Jazz actually wanted to lose this game, but it was closer than you would like if you're a Jazz fan. Let's see. Let's bring this up right here. Bring me down. So the story of this game was definitely LeBron James, who was fantastic. If you're a Lakers fan, the thing that you were worried about the most for LeBron was, can he be healthy enough for these playoffs? He had that ankle turn. You remember when he said, I heard it pop and things like that. And it took him some time to get back. And this Lakers team, behind a trade, ironically, with Utah, who we were talking about today, really powered them into this playoffs and got them into this play-in and in a solid position in the play-in. So LeBron James comes into this one. The last time the Jazz played the Lakers, it was close. It came down to overtime. And LeBron James was not good from three in that game, but tonight he absolutely was. He took 14 threes in this game and hit 57% of them. So he was feeling it tonight and absolutely went off. 36 points, and 24 of those were from three, so only 12 points inside, 2 from the free throw line. Pretty crazy, actually, and 6 rebounds, 6 assists. So I wonder if a little bit the ankle isn't quite there, but at least he has a few days to get a little bit better. Hopefully they can cruise through the play-in if you're a Lakers fan. Although I think there's some things that happened with the Lakers that have to make you pretty happy. LeBron James might have an easy time because of the kind of the craziness going on in Minnesota with Rudy Gobert and Jaden McDaniels. Holy smokes, is that situation bad. But anyways, so the Lakers get the win tonight behind LeBron James. And of course, Anthony Davis was really solid. He wasn't quite the offensive threat that LeBron James was feeling, but 16 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 4 blocks. He was just really solid for them to get this win. Jared Vanderbilt, who I loved when he was on the Jazz, it's just some of the things, it was almost a little bit redundant with how many bigs the Jazz have. He's been really solid for them. I know he's kind of dipped a little bit lately, but he'll have games where he puts up just huge stats across the board with, rebounds, assists, points, all the different things, and he plays good defense. Tonight, a little bit of that. 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 12 points, but he plays really good defense, and you see that in the plus-minus. Austin Reeves, and I believe in fact, I kind of want to look this up. Austin Reeves is going to be a restricted free agent, I believe, next year. And it is really interesting for the Lakers. They've got to figure this out. I mean, obviously right now they are on borrowed time with him because he's making, this is arguably one of the best contracts in the NBA with what he's producing. $1.5 million. He's a restricted free agent. You can bet there are other teams. And I don't know exactly. I've heard Bill Simmons talk about it, where he's talked about how much they can offer them, something like 4 years, 50-something million. There may be a team out there that gives him big money. Look at this, plus 20 for him, and he is a big part of what they do. If you do not watch the Lakers and what Austin Reeves is doing, he is absolutely turning into just a really good starting NBA player. 12 points tonight, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. He does a little bit of everything. And look at the percentages. 3 for 4 from 3, 3 for 5 from the field. I'm kind of curious what he is for the season. But just his level of play is really good. And maybe I can do a deep dive a little bit into what his defense is. But look at this for the season. 28 minutes a game. He's doing 13 points, 52 from the field, 39 from 3. This guy is really solid. He has been one of the most important players for them all year, and he just gets better. He might be the future point guard of the Lakers if they can keep him. That's going to be an interesting thing to watch this offseason because there are some teams out there that might be interested in throwing him, a big contract and just betting on him getting better. And he's the type of guy you probably see get better, to be honest. I think it's also interesting. Young players with LeBron don't always flourish. And the fact that he is flourishing and he is a young player is pretty awesome. If you're a Lakers fan, you've got to be excited about him. And you've got to, I mean, honestly, Lakers fans have got to want to keep him, considering what happened with Caruso, who was such an important part of what they were doing. And the money they are going to have to pay Austin Reeves isn't even close what they could have gotten away with Alex Caruso. They just got so cheap with him. And he goes to the Bulls, and the Bulls have done so much better having Alex Caruso on the floor. And we knew that Alex Caruso was good because he was on a championship Lakers team last in the bubble. I mean, he helped power them to a championship. He was a big part of that. D'Angelo Russell continues to shoot the ball well after that trade, 17 points, 5 assists, and he's just got solid numbers across the board. And then Malik Beasley had a good Malik Beasley game. I know you look at the final 3-point numbers, but he's so streaky lately, it seems like. And there's nights where, you'll kind of take this, but there'll be nights where he just goes off. Tonight was just solid. You'll take it. And Troy Brown, also pretty solid. Rui Hachimura is also one of their better players that I think really contributes in a nice way. The over 6 from 3, I'm kind of curious what his 3-point percentage is for the year. He might be one of those guys that plays a little less in the playoffs, depending on what he's shooting. 31%. He's going to be off the bench and kind of fill that role from LeBron, but I would not have him playing more than 10 to 15 minutes in the playoffs because, if teams can just lay off of him at the 3-point line, that's going to make things easier defensively. So anyways, that's all I got. The interesting thing, let's go to the standings. So let's just update these. So the play-in tournament will now start. I can't remember. It's in a few days. I can't remember exactly when. But this puts the Lakers at number 7 with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, like 4 hours ago, that would have seemed like a really tough match because the Minnesota Timberwolves have been playing good basketball the last 3 weeks. They're 7-3 of their last 10 games. So the Wolves and the Lakers are playing some great basketball the last month. This was going to be really interesting. Well, guess what? Rudy Gobert punched his teammate in the chest. He punched him in the chest from like 4 feet away. One thing with Rudy Gobert is he can punch. He's got Inspector Gadget arms, and he can punch you from across the court, and just goes like, and he punched him in the chest, and the Timberwolves sent him home. He got sent home. So Rudy Gobert likely not playing in this game. We'll see if they get some sort of suspension or what the Wolves are going to do. That is bad news if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't know what's going to happen. Do they suspend him? I mean, if you punch someone, you typically get suspended. The Wolves put out a statement that they will handle it internally, but I don't know if the NBA will just allow that. The NBA is probably going to be like, you know what? That's great, but here's what we're going to do too. And it's right before the playoffs. And you know what else? The NBA is not going to be too bummed if the Los Angeles Lakers and their market and all their fans get an extra game in a playoff series and LeBron James. So I don't know. I don't think it's a tinfoil hat thing though, because if you punch someone, it rarely doesn't involve some sort of suspension. We'll find out. I don't know, but what a terrible. And guess what? In a weird way, this connects the Utah Jazz in this fun trio of terribleness. The Minnesota Timberwolves own the Jazz pick, and I believe, I'm not quite sure. This is something I need to look up. If how the play-in plays out, if it affects lottery odds. So Utah Jazz fans, we'll have to look this up, and I may have to look around and ask some people. But if this helps the Jazz lottery odds, go Lakers. Go Lakers, baby. Because this also could help the Jazz get another lottery pick and just more ping pong balls in the lottery. So thank you, Lakers. Go into Minnesota. In fact, this may be in LA too. So LeBron James looks really good with his 3-point shooting. Anthony Davis looks completely healthy and looks like peak Anthony Davis right now. I don't know if the mid-range and 3-point shot is there, but it doesn't need to be because the Lakers have the shooting they need. And LeBron James looks like he's 85, 90%. And if LeBron James is 85, 90%, that's an incredible player, So anyways, no Rudy Gobert. The other thing that happened in this game. Oh, wait, there's more. Jaden McDaniels, who's one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, one of the big reasons this Wolves team has been so good, was angry, punched the wall as he goes through the tunnel, and broke his hand, his shooting hand. That's just, I can't explain to you or express how bad this is for the Minnesota Timberwolves. So now you have your best perimeter defender, who would have guarded LeBron, is now out. And arguably one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. I don't think it's even a debate. And now he's out of the game. So you've got the best rim protector likely out, the best wing defender likely out. So the Lakers basically just have to do their best to stop Anthony Edwards, and they are in good shape to make this 7-2 seed. And by the way, here's another thing, Los Angeles Lakers fans. You guys must be Rumpelstiltskin because you just turned straw into gold. Because guess what? Memphis doesn't have Steven Adams in this one. Steven Adams is out for the year. They just announced it. So, Los Angeles Lakers fans, I don't know what you did. I don't know what you devils did, but you made some sort of pact, and now you've got a really nice route. Because guess what? No Steven Adams. And you know what that means? That means Anthony Davis is going to have a much easier time getting rebounds, scoring inside, which is going to help everyone else. Big time development for the, because I know they have Jaren Jackson Jr. and he is a defensive player of the year candidate, but that just means the load on him is that much bigger, and that also means you can put Vando on Jaren Jackson, or you can have Anthony Davis on Jaren Jackson, and that allows Vando to kind of roam on defense. So this Lakers team has a lot going its way right now. Obviously you've got Ja Morant, sharpshooter Ja Morant. I'm sorry, I had to. But anyways, you've got Ja Morant, Desmond Bane. I'm not a big believer in the Memphis Grizzlies. I think the Memphis Grizzlies are a little bit of a glass cannon, because if you have Ja Morant not shooting the ball well, you can beat them. Believe me, as a Jazz fan who watched multiple Jazz teams just fart their ways out of the playoffs the last few years, the team that the Jazz would beat every time is the Memphis Grizzlies. They couldn't beat the Mavericks last year. They couldn't get past the second round against the Clippers without, Kawhi Leonard and all these things. But you know what they could do? They could definitely beat the Grizzlies twice. Or was it once? I can't remember. But they beat them. And it wasn't particularly close. So it's a pretty good shot for this Lakers team. And so if they win this, then I believe, 2-7, that means they win and then I don't know if they beat the Phoenix Suns. I think the Phoenix Suns are winning everything. But you've got a great route to the playoffs. And I guess never say never. This Lakers team, if LeBron James gets healthier and healthier, Anthony Davis stays healthier and healthier and healthier, who knows? Because it is still LeBron James and it is still Anthony Davis, and they're healthy, and who knows? But we shall find out. It's going to be a lot of fun. So congrats to Lakers fans. I know Jazz fans who watch this channel are loving this. Oh, man. All right, let's talk about the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz, the season is over. So everyone who supports this channel, I know this is mostly this is like a lot of Jazz fans love this channel. I'm trying to grow out to all the NBA. So if you're a Lakers fan here, please subscribe. I would appreciate it. But anyways, for Jazz fans, it's been an absolute blast this year, especially the people who are members of the channel, who join the channel and support it. I appreciate it more than you know. It feels like a little Hoops Nerd family here, and I appreciate everyone who comes and watches these games. Whether we win or lose, more losses this year than wins, but I think we had a lot of fun. And this team was honestly more fun this year than last year. The last 2-3 years were a slog, and that's when this channel really grew. And so I'm excited for the future for this Jazz team, because there's a lot of things to be excited about. A lot of things. Let's just go through it. So just for this season, we see Lauri Markkanen comes to the Jazz, and I can't remember, was it Doris Burke who did a great job today on the game, just kind of mentioned how and this is what I thought too, is I thought when Lauri Markkanen came to the Jazz, he was basically going to be a kind of a spot-up three-point shooting power forward, a guy that is tall and can shoot threes, and that was kind of like it. And then we see, once the trade goes on, that Lauri Markkanen in Eurobasket for Finland just went crazy and was like one of the best players there, next to like Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic and all them. And then it was like Lauri Markkanen, and you're like, wow, pretty cool. It's also Eurobasket, so who knows if he even is going to do that. And then he comes to the Jazz, and he does everything he did in Eurobasket and just gets continually better every month. That first month, you could tell there was like tentativeness, and I think, honestly, there was a confidence factor that Lauri Markkanen needed to get, and it took a month or two, especially for those who use Prize Picks and you were betting on Markkanen. You'd have a game where he'd score 30 points, and then you'd have a game where he'd score 16, and then and then he'd go out and put 28, and then he'd put out 14 and stuff like that. And it was like up and down, but he'd have these big games, and slowly but surely the consistency got there where it was like 20 plus every single night. And it's been really fun to watch. And you couldn't have a more likable guy that's so easy to root for in Markkanen. He's just a guy that does everything you ask of him. The points he gets are not selfish points either. They are within the offense. It's cutting to the basket. It's taking a spot up three. It's pulling up when the offense allows it. It's running in transition. Things like that. Offensive rebounds and putbacks. He was getting his points in so many different ways. And it's just exciting to see what is going to happen with Lauri Markkanen next year, because he's now building off of an incredible foundation. Also, one of the big successes with Lauri Markkanen this year is that he stayed healthy, that he did not have any serious injury. I mean, he had a few, cuts and bruises here and there and missed a couple games. And I think it was basically load management to end the year, so the Jazz get the 9 pick. But pretty successful that Markkanen, who has had multiple injuries in his career, stays healthy with this team. So that's pretty massive. The interesting thing with Markkanen too is this offseason he's going back and he has to join the Finnish army. It's a requirement for citizens of Finland that he joins the army at some point before the age of 30. So he's going to get that done. We'll see how that goes. I don't know all the ins and outs of that, but it sounds like he will be ready to go for next season. But something to watch. But anyways, hopefully he's not too exhausted from that, or at least can stay healthy. I don't know the ins and outs of that. But anyways, moral of the story, it's been an absolutely phenomenal season for Lauri Markkanen, who is very likely going to win Most Improved Player. He is absolutely deserving of an All-NBA spot, and he earned his starting spot on the All-Star team. Absolutely. So what a fun surprise that was. Holy smokes. Now, should we talk about the other surprise? Walker Kessler, who the Jazz traded for Rudy Gobert, who's punching teammates in Minnesota. The Jazz have Walker Kessler, who's been out for the last 4 games with concussion protocols. He's looked almost every bit of everything that Rudy Gobert was, and there's no doubt in my mind that he becomes just as good, or at least very close, every game. But the thing that's kind of separates Kessler from Rudy Gobert is that Kessler has incredible hands. He has really nice instincts around the basket. He puts the ball in every time. He's an incredible offensive rebounder, and it's just his hands. Anytime that ball is anywhere near him, in the air, on the ground, wherever, he's getting it. And if he's near the basket, he's putting it in. And we watched him win multiple games near the end of games where multiple times Walker Kessler got the win with huge offensive rebounds or just getting a pass inside when everything was on the line and getting a dunk, or he had a few games where he won the game on the defensive end. There were so many games this year for the Jazz where it was close, especially at the beginning of the year. And the Jazz in the clutch were so remarkable, and that's why they started so well to start the season. And as the season went on and Walker Kessler got more and more minutes, he earned his spot in the starting role, by the way. Vando lost that spot to Walker Kessler, and that's what made that Laker trade kind of possible, is because Walker Kessler earned it. Oh, he just earned it over Jared Vanderbilt. And that in itself is a credit to Will Hardy, who allows players to work their way in the starting unit. If you're on Quinn Snyder's team last year or a year before, Walker Kessler ain't playing. He's not playing as much as he did with this year. And you can bet he was not earning a starting spot. We never saw that. And now with Will Hardy, we get to see that with these players that earn their way and earn more minutes. If you are working hard, if you are getting buckets, if you are improving your game, if you are playing hard on defense, if you are playing hard in this game, Will Hardy rewards you. It's fantastic. And we should not be surprised that this locker room is this good. And they have leaders and guys that are tough and they fight. Kris Dunn fit right in. His demeanor, his toughness, his fight fits right in with this Jazz team. Tonight, Ochai Agbaji got kicked out of the game. You know what? I don't care. I like it. I like the fire. I like that he cares. It's game 82. Nothing's on the line for the Jazz, especially for the players, playoff-wise. Ochai Agbaji cares. Kris Dunn cares. Walker Kessler cares. They go out and they play hard. And guess what? Their coach gets on them. Will Hardy cares a lot. This is everything. And so they go out and they play hard every night. And Walker Kessler is every bit of that essence and what that means to this team. And it's fantastic. And it made this season so much fun. So much fun. I mentioned Ochai Agbaji. Another credit to both him and Will Hardy. If you remember when the season started, Ochai Agbaji was not playing and even got sent to the G League for a few games. You know, and it might not even been a few. It might have been like a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks or whatever it was. I was not personally super excited about it, but at the same time, when were you going to get him minutes? Is he going to get minutes starting off over Malik Beasley? He was so tentative and nervous that when you had Malik Beasley out there, it was just better minutes with Malik Beasley and Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson. And you had all those guys in front of Agbaji who never got to play. You know, so he goes to the G League because there's no time to play, and he was tentative when he did get on the court and made some mistakes, and you could tell he was just trying to not make mistakes, and he was just really nervous. Now we got Ochai Agbaji scoring 28 points and beating the Denver Nuggets with 1 game left in the season, running pick and rolls, knocking down threes, big shots to end the game, driving to the hoop, looking like Donovan Mitchell, but with actual size. It's incredible the change that happened with Ochai Agbaji. And this Jazz team, you know, the talk about tanking and what the definition of tanking even is. Whatever your definition of tanking was, the Jazz did a good job of it, because what it did is not only did the Jazz get a number 9 pick this season, number 9, and that was after starting like 10-2 or whatever dang stupid winning record they had, because you guys knew what I wanted. I wanted Wembanyama, and, you know, there's still a chance, but it's much less likely with 9. Either way, the Jazz will get a nice pick. But what happened is the Jazz did that, and they just knew that this team, we have something. You know, there's something special here with Will Hardy. There's something special here with Lauri Markkanen. There's something special here with Walker Kessler. And this Ochai Agbaji, and I tell you what, I could kind of see it beforehand. I'm not here to just pat myself on the back, even though I'm always willing to do that. But if you go back, go watch highlights from Ochai Agbaji in Summer League. You could see it. I mean, he hit like his first 5 threes in his first game, and he looked like unbelievable. And some of the things he's been doing now with this Jazz team were some of the things he was doing in Summer League. It was like a confidence level. It's like he starts here in Summer League, and then boom, the confidence level was gone. Will Hardy allows him to build up that confidence. So Will Hardy deserves a ton of credit. And to be honest, Danny Ainge and Justin Zanuck deserve a ton of credit, because they said, you know what? We could make a play-in if we don't make a trade. But we want to develop these guys, and these are the core guys, and we are going to make trades for these guys that are positive trades. And we're going to lose games because we're going to get another couple guys in this draft that are really good and put them around Markkanen, put them around Ochai, put them around Kessler, and we have guys that are on the similar timelines. I am so excited about the Lauri Markkanen contract. That is going to be so freaking cool when he gets that big supermax. And guess what? The new CBA just allowed the Jazz to give him more money. Lauri Markkanen's here to stay. All right? He's here to stay. And what I love during this game, and you can go rewatch it, go listen to his interview, but he talked about development. He's all in. That was all I needed to hear, and that's what I'm excited about, is that this Jazz team kind of did 2 things really well that's really hard to do. Go watch what's going on in Minnesota. They're punching each other in Minnesota, literally punching each other. This Jazz team was walking the line between development and, I guess if you want to say tanking or whatever you want to call it, development season, losing season, whatever, and also earning their way to rookie of the year for Walker Kessler, who's going to get all rookie team for sure. He may even get all defensive team. That will be something interesting to watch. And then Lauri Markkanen made all-star team. He made all-NBA. Because he makes all-NBA, I mean, I guess it's not 100%, but I'm pretty sure he's going to make all-NBA. I don't know how you don't give him all-NBA this year. But with all-NBA, all-star, he's going to get all this money. He's going to be on the Jazz. And the Jazz have done such a good job with their books and cleaning out these contracts that were handled so poorly by Dennis Lindsey and, that regime. And all those players that were on bloated contracts because no one has confidence that we can keep players. Well, guess what? Danny Ainge came and said, you know what we're going to do? We are going to sign players that want to play hard. We are going to sign players that have multiple talents, and we're going to give guys a chance, and we're going to actually play our rookies. Novel thought, right? But anyway, so they do that, and guess what? All of a sudden, you've got guys earning their way onto the floor. You've got guys like Kris Dunn, who was not on an NBA team a month ago and is now in the NBA and flourishing, gets a near triple-double tonight. We can get emotional, guys, over this, but it's a freaking cool season we just had, and it's the type of organization that I am just in love with. I've been dreaming about this for years, honestly, a decade, for the team to run like this. Because guess what? Yes, Utah is the butt of a lot of jokes, and sometimes deservedly so, for sure. But Sometimes not. Sometimes it's just like a lazy joke about Utah, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? Utah has a lot of great things going for it now. They have a perfect star in Lauri Markkanen that you can pair with anyone. He can play off of any superstar you bring in. If the Jazz have an opportunity to make a trade this offseason for a superstar, let's say a Luka Doncic. I'm not a big Luka Doncic fan just because I think he eats like 5 cheeseburgers as a snack. And then lunchtime, who knows what he's putting down. But anyways, if someone like that becomes available and you have the picks now to make it happen, is there not a more perfect tandem to go with him than Lauri Markkanen? You know what I mean? It's fantastic. So the Jazz have just set themselves up in a perfect way. It's both with assets and also just mindset. Like, the Jazz believe in themselves, you know? We don't go into negotiations acting like we're like, oh, we're lucky to be here. Oh, Minnesota, you know what? Thanks for taking our phone call. We sure appreciate it. Would you mind talking to us about a trade? Perhaps we can make some sort of trade, Minnesota. Okay? Let's figure it out. Okay? Let's see what you can give us. Could you imagine the trade with Rudy Gobert and Minnesota if that was done by Dennis Lindsey? Can you imagine that? The amount of confidence and demeanor that Danny Ainge brought to this team and said, no, we have an incredible asset, and if you want an incredible asset for us, you have to pay up. You have to pay that value, and likely more, because guess what? He's our guy, and we don't have to do anything we don't want to do, right? And so Danny Ainge absolutely killed it with the Minnesota trade. That team is imploding, and we have their picks for the next millennia. And then you have the Cavaliers trade where, guess what? Ochai Agbaji, starting level player. Lauri Markkanen is making an all-NBA team on the Utah Jazz that Donovan Mitchell never did. Yes, Donovan Mitchell's making all-NBA for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I'm happy for him, whatever. But now now the Jazz have a Lauri Markkanen. I mean, they traded Donovan for an all-NBA player, plus we get all their picks. And when Donovan decides to go to Miami or New York in 2 years when his contract's up, I just think that those picks are going to be pretty decent for Utah, right? Pretty good. So we shall see. They get to have the fun job of making sure Donovan's happy in a place he doesn't want to be long term. We know what that's like. Good luck with that, Cleveland. Enjoy that fun ride. It's not my favorite, I can tell you that. My nose is running. But anyways, just an absolutely fantastic development of things. And then the pick the Jazz got from the Lakers for Vando and Malik Beasley was really solid. And we've talked about this a lot. And some people were saying like, oh, the Jazz could have gotten more. No, they couldn't have. And if you talk to any people that were in the know, and if you listen to some of these things, the second best offer was a worse pick from the Pelicans looking for those players. That was it. And it was a worse pick. That Lakers team is going to try. That pick is going to convey. And even if it doesn't, it helped develop these players. It helped improve this Jazz pick because guess what? The Lakers got better, which helped push the Jazz down. And so it worked out really nicely. And guess what? Helping Minnesota also push well, I guess I don't always understand that. They kind of had to make that Minnesota trade and send Mike Conley to them because that was what was going to make the trade happen. And it did. It made the Lakers better, which helped the Jazz jump in the standings. And I'm glad we did it because my goodness, was it close. The Jazz, and by the way, the Washington Wizards lost today. So that actually made me feel better because Utah beating Denver was just eating me up. I'm not going to lie. That was, oh my gosh. But then seeing Washington lose meant that it didn't matter that we beat Denver. DWCD, $5. Thank you, my friend. We have a great asset in Rudy Gobert. He punches above his weight. Danny Ainge to Mini. Yes, he is definitely punching above his weight. He's not punching above the neck, I guess. He punches people in the chest or the collarbone. I don't know. That was crazy. I think I'm going to do a video about that too. I might do a breakdown for fun. I'll do that tonight. But anyways, we'll see. Anyways, thank you, DWCB. And thank you for being an all-star, DWCB. You're always here. I appreciate you a lot. Thank you for being part of the channel. Let's see. So those are my favorite storylines of the year. And we had fun storylines throughout the year. We had players like Kelly Olynyk has been a core piece on every starting unit. And I think that right there kind of tells you the value of Kelly Olynyk is that he has been from day one to game 82 has been a part of the starting unit and helping this Jazz team and helping these players. He fits in with everybody. That is the value of Kelly Olynyk. That's why when we go look at just stat sheets, and yes, I love stats. I do. I like advanced stats too sometimes. But the fact that he can fit on the floor with any group of guys makes him really valuable. And look what he does tonight. So tonight he goes 9 for 13, 69% nice percentage, 3 for 4 from 3, 4 assists, 5 rebounds, 23 points. And what makes him so nice is how he moves the ball. You see it in the 4 assists. He gets like 4 assists a night. In fact, let's see what his, just out of curiosity, 3.7 a game. So he's putting up like 3-4 assists every single night. He shoots the ball really well. This season he shot it pretty well. What did he end the year with shooting-wise? 39%, which is, I mean, that's pretty great. I mean, he's actually a pretty consistently great three-point shooter. Look at this. I mean, he's usually, I mean, I guess that year he was down, but for the most part, he's usually somewhere between 30. Well, that's interesting. I don't know, but he had a good year shooting the ball with the Jazz, which is fantastic. Ochai Agbaji, we talked about him and how he's developed. But you know what? Kris Dunn was a fun story. He comes out of nowhere, and I liked Kris Dunn in the draft. He kind of looks what I thought he would be, where he's just this really athletic, quick, good defensive guard that can also run, that learned how to play offense. Now he's like assisting the ball. Look at this tonight. Another 8 assists, 10 rebounds. If you went the over on assists on Dunn the last 2 games, you made money with Prize Picks. I tell you what, my gosh. 26 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. That game he has where he goes to the paint and just hits that floater is almost unstoppable. I mean, he is so strong. He is so savvy. He knows how to create space, and he gets that shot. And if he doesn't, he assists the ball really well. I mean, this is quite the find. And the Jazz have him for next season as well. This is awesome. He might retire as a Jazz man, to be honest. I think that would be great. And one of the flavors that's been really fun to end this season for the Jazz has been Taylor Horton-Tucker. I have to say, Danger FC, welcome to Rookie. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for joining the channel. Everyone say thank you and welcome to Danger FC. I like that. But anyways, Taylor Horton-Tucker has been really, really nice. But I tell you what, the Jazz have so many options, and that's why this draft is going to be fun, because if the Jazz go get like a Cason Wallace, that's going to be really interesting because he's really good defensive guard. Could you imagine Cason Wallace and then backing him up is Kris Dunn? That level of defense for 48 minutes? Oh my gosh. Woo! Woo! I just got excited. But anyways, you get someone like Cason Wallace or like a Taylor Hendricks to play next to these guys. I mean, Taylor Hendricks is going to be possibly available. Taylor Hendricks, Cason Wallace, or maybe Anthony Black, or possibly Jarris Walker if he falls. I mean, one of these players, the Washington Wizards are stupid. They're really dumb. These teams that are consistently in this range, these are the dummies. These are the dummies. Orlando's actually been pretty good lately, but Washington's like uber dummy. They're really dumb. Charlotte's like really dumb. They really do dumb things. Jordan just sold the team, so we'll see if they actually fill their front office with anyone. That team has like no front office. It's crazy, actually. Just filled with dummies. And Washington filled with dummies. Just dumb. Dallas filled with dummies. They got Luka Doncic, and look what they've done. Just absolute ridiculous. I mean, it's just crazy. And so one of these teams is going to jump or something and make a dumb pick. They'll go get Grady Dick with like 6 or something. And my gosh, will I celebrate. If the Jazz stay at 9, oh my gosh, I will be so happy. But something like that's going to happen. I hope so. But even if it doesn't, Utah is going to get a nice player because, the top 5 are pretty much set. And then it's just a mix of like Jarris Walker, Cason Wallace, Anthony Black, Taylor Hendricks, and I guess that's pretty much it. And so the Jazz are like locked in at 9. That is basically the bottom floor of that third tier, because tier 1 is Victor Wembanyama. He's his own tier. Tier 1 is Victor. That's it. Tier 2 is basically Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller. In fact, let's go to the mock draft so I'm not doing this blind. But yeah, Scoot Henderson, Brandon Miller is basically the tier 2. These two, whoever's in 2 and 3 got really lucky because those guys are kind of like #1 players any other year, but Victor Wembanyama is that good. And then there's like a tier 3 with Amen and Asar, but they are, man, these guys are scary to me. I wouldn't be surprised if one of these drops to the Jazz. They are so scary because the athleticism is like Vince Carter level. It's unbelievable, the athleticism of these two guys. It's unbelievable. If you go watch their highlights, they make, I mean, their athleticism is the type of athleticism where they're just like, they look like it's so easy to jump 3 feet off the ground. They're so smooth with it. It's bonkers. Go watch it. It's just kind of like, I've never seen anything like it. The only thing is that the shooting is just, it's not quite there. And I can't remember if it's Amen or Asar. I think it might be Asar. One of them shoots like 60% from the free throw line. So it's a little scary. You know, it doesn't mean they can't get better, and it doesn't mean they won't get better. Probably will. That's why you kind of have to bet on them, because that type of size, athleticism, and the defense that they play is just too good. I mean, look at this. 3 steals per game. And I know that's overtime elite league, you know, so this is more like, if this was college, it'd be more like what Casey Wallace is doing, you know, 2 a game. Still, really, really good. With that size, with that athleticism, that quickness, unbelievable. And then here's the other tier, this kind of 4. I know they keep putting Grady Dick, but I would switch him with Taylor Hendricks. And then Cam Whitmore. You know, so that's that 5. The Jazz might get Cam Whitmore even at 9. That's crazy. So something like this is very possible. You know, Jorge, no, we are not getting Grady Dick. Don't even say it, okay? No, we are not doing Dick jokes for like 10 years of him on the Jazz. I don't want it, because you know what? Grady Dick's going to be a solid NBA shooter. He just is. I just don't want it on my team. I don't want to talk about him for 10 years, okay? I just don't want it. Let him go to like the Thunder, okay? Go sit on the bench with Poku. I don't know. Anyways, let's see. I don't know if there's anything really else to say. I mean, I think one of the things to really watch with this Jazz team is who's on the team. I mean, this offseason is going to be crazy. And I'm going to be doing videos. We don't do as many during the offseason, but I'm going to try to do some. And maybe we'll do some live streams. I think we're going to do a SLC dunk party at Wink, or not Wing Coop, Trolley Winco when we watch the lottery, possibly. But I'd love to do some live shows with that. We'll find out if the guys still want to do that, and then I guess I'll invite anyone else who wants to go. Then we've got the draft, which is going to be exciting, and then we might do some shows. We'll do shows with Summer League and all these other things because it's fun and I really enjoy it. So, but anyways, this offseason is going to be nuts. It's going to be crazy because, you know, I don't know if Jordan Clarkson's on the team. We've talked about the contract right now. The Jazz have like $35 million in cap space, and Jordan Clarkson makes like 15 or 16. I can't remember exactly. I'm not worried about looking it up. But if they don't re-sign Jordan Clarkson, and I'm kind of in the camp of just letting him go, because I wouldn't mind just being younger and being all in kind of that same age range, Larry Markkinen or younger in that age group, and letting Jordan Clarkson just go. Let him go make his money elsewhere. If they re-sign him, then I guess I'm okay with that. But at the same time, I would like to see maybe just a younger team, because I think that's what the Jazz need to do. You know, and like DWCB says, I love Jordan, but I think that the Jazz can do even better. You know, that's very possible. Maybe there's some sort of like sign and trade the Jazz can make with Jordan Clarkson. That's like the perfect kind of thing you could do with Jordan Clarkson, is if Jordan Clarkson says, hey, I want to go play with the Lakers, or I want to go play with Miami or wherever, or, you know, and those teams don't have cap space because they don't. Utah can do something where they're like, well, let's sign you and let's trade them for, you know, maybe the Lakers give the Jazz their next pick and they can make a sign and trade, and the Jazz can take some contracts from them they don't want and they give them like Jordan Clarkson. I don't know. So it's something like that could help the Jazz get maybe more picks or younger players, and then just go young, because I want to see, you know, if it's Case and Wallace, the Jazz draft, I want to see Case and Wallace, you know, and I think Kris Dunn, to be honest, you know, in the chat, members who, you know, would you want Jordan Clarkson or Kris Dunn at this point? With what Kris Dunn is doing and his defense, I think I go Kris Dunn, to be honest. And if you have Kris Dunn, which I think is making $2.5 million next year, my gosh, is that good contract management, you know? So I think I take Kris Dunn over JC, and you just let either JC go do what he wants, or you do some sort of sign and trade or whatever. But I think I'd rather have Kris Dunn. And you've got Taylor Horton-Tucker too. I mean, honestly, if I have to choose between Jordan Clarkson, Taylor Horton-Tucker, and Kris Dunn, I mean, I might just be okay with Kris Dunn and Taylor Horton-Tucker and Case and Wallace, or maybe there's a player in the, that the Jazz get in free agency. I don't know. It's going to be a wild free agency. It's going to be interesting because the Jazz have so many different options. Instead of like last season or 2 years ago, remember when Rudy Gay was like going to save the Jazz? My gosh. And I just was like, is this really, this is it? And then 3 years ago, they trade a first round pick just to get off of Derek Favors' contract so they could re-sign, so they could draft Udoka as a boot. It was so stupid. The Jazz did so many stupid things, and we're finally going to be out of the stupidity next year because the Jazz owe their pick next season because of the Derek Favors trade. Oh my gosh, to Oklahoma City. They traded them a top 10 protected first round pick just to get Derek Favors off their books. And I love Derek Favors, but you don't do that. That is bad management. I can promise you Danny Ainge would not have done that. Someone like Danny Ainge probably saw that go out across the wire and was like, what are they doing? What is going on? So the Jazz just making better choices with their just team in general. Players, and you know what else? There's just other guys that they have been picking up. Colin Sexton, we haven't even talked about Colin Sexton. Will he be on the team next year? You're going to have just a glut of guards. I mean, next year you've got Colin Sexton, Kris Dunn, Taylor Horton-Tucker, Jordan Clarkson, Ochai Agbaji, and then do they get Case and Wallace? I mean, that's 6 guards. That's too many. That's why I just think Jordan Clarkson is likely gone. Do they want to put that much money into Jordan Clarkson when you've got Larry Marketing coming up, and you've got other guys that you could fill that space with? The other thing and we've talked about this before, and that's the other thing, Doncic, like Luka Doncic might be available, so the Jazz could be ready to make something like that happen, and I bet you Danny Ainge makes that move. Danny Ainge is the guy that would be bold enough to do it. But anyways, you've got to be able to make those trades, but they're not going to fill their team with bad contracts like Dennis Lindsey did. Absolutely just bad contracts. You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll see if Doke's on the team next year. Doke actually played pretty decent these last 2 or 3 weeks. And I know it's like tanking time and whatnot, and the Jazz were losing games. So I don't know. But I was kind of proud of Doke because he has been kind of an end of the bench guy. And he played pretty well. Good job for Doke. And he's had 2 big-time injuries to start his career. And so I'm just happy that Doke is figuring it out. And I hope he gets another contract because the guy seems like a good guy. I like Damian Jones, though. We know what he's done three-point-wise. He missed his three-pointer he took, dug on it. But for the season with the Jazz, his three-point shooting has been kind of unbelievable. Look at what he does for the Jazz as a three-point shooter. 58%. Pretty crazy. So I would like to see Damian Jones. Can he keep that up next year and actually be kind of a three-point threat for a Jazz 5-out offense? I think he definitely could. I think it's kind of fun to watch. That's just quietly a pretty good little pickup the Jazz did. Why not? So anyways, that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about that. And then, yeah, they've got so many players here that are going, and Rudy Gay, my favorite fact about Rudy Gay is that if Doke is not on the team next year, what's Doke's contract? Let's see. Let's look up Udoka as a bookie. You like how I can spell it perfect right off the bat? There we go. Udoka, so club exercise. So they exercised his option. Club option declined. So he is not on the team next year. Club declined. I didn't know that. I mean, I think I knew that, but I didn't register. I don't know. They did not. Ooh. So anyways, Doke might not be on the team next year. Oh, well. But anyways, what's an interesting fun fact about Rudy Gay with regards to that is that Rudy Gay will be the longest tenured Jazz man. If Jordan Clarkson's not on the team next year, the longest tenured Jazz man will be Rudy Gay. Everyone's favorite player, Rudy Gay. Everyone on Twitter loves Rudy Gay all season long. He will be your longest tenured Jazz man next season when Jordan Clarkson likely goes to another team and Udoka Azubuike's not on the team anymore. Isn't that crazy? And also, fun fact about this team, Colin Sexton, highest paid player. The contract for Lauri Markkanen is crazy. It's crazy. It is so crazy. And I think the Jazz have basically promised him the big time money. And that's why I think he was okay with resting these last few games and not getting injured. So, and you know what else? I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the injury thing, I'm sure he's kind of okay with not getting hurt right before entering basic training or whatever it is he's doing for Finland. You know, going into there with like a severe sprain of some sort or whatever would not be fun. So it's nice that, Lauri Markkanen has a full season, just completely healthy. Just typical injuries that every player goes through, but nothing serious. Really nice to see. So, really cool. All right, guys. So, really fun season. I just appreciate everyone who's been a part of this channel. I love doing this. It's, you know, it's something I do. I love it. You know, I do, you know, I make a little bit off of this, but it's not my full-time job. I wish it was. I still keep trying, and I'm still going to keep trying to grow. With 4 kids and running SLC Dunk, I don't always have the time to do the things that I would like to, that I think would grow this channel more. But I love doing it, and this is just going to be something I do forever. And I'm just so grateful that everyone's here and supports it. If you're new here, I would love for you to just subscribe. And if you want to support the channel, join. Or if not, don't. But I just want to let everyone know that I appreciate you, especially the members. You guys are incredible. It's been a weird year with SLC Dunk, with Vox. They have done so many cuts that were so weird that didn't make a lot of sense. They're just kind of poorly run, you know? And I didn't know if SLC Dunk was... I mean, that was a weird day when they made those layoffs because like 11 teams lost their blog, and teams that make money. Like the SLC Dunk and the other NBA blogs, they make money. They do well. SLC Dunk had our best year in like a while. We killed it. SLC Dunk killed it. So anyone who has anything to say about SLC Dunk, you can just go, I don't know, go elsewhere, because SLC Dunk had a monster year and we were like killing it. Thank you, Danny Ainge, who kept me busy. I tell you what. But it's just been a weird year. So, and I didn't know what was going to happen with that. And I was honestly nervous. And it was weird going on Twitter and seeing all these layoffs and then finding out, like, I got it was weird. Like one day during work, I got like a Slack message, because we have just a behind baseball thing. There's a Slack channel for all the SB Nation managers where we talk about different things. And, you know, there's some interesting chats going on about Dallas this year with the Dallas manager. But anyways, it was weird to see that and see that thing go, like, check your email to see if your blog still exists. And that was the weirdest day, going to my email and then finding out, luckily, SLC Dunk is still funded and still supported. And so it's been a weird day, and it's been a weird, like, I don't know what the future is, because Vox is going to sell apparently, and I don't know what that means. I don't know. So it's been a kind of honestly scary year a little bit for me, because I do depend on that a little bit, and it's been kind of weird, but I also depend on this too. And I appreciate you guys for supporting it. I just really appreciate it. I can't say the word appreciate enough, but thank you guys for supporting the channel. I certainly love doing it, and you guys are amazing. All right, so season finale, kind of different than last year where you're going to the playoffs. The Jazz are eliminated. Let's, should we do music? Let's go look at where we stand. Like I said, I'm not quite sure. Let's make sure these are correct. I'm not quite sure if the play-in and how it plays out affects the lottery. I don't know that for sure. I don't know. So I've got to figure out how that works. But so let's hope that it does affect it, because if Minnesota drops in the play-in or something and ends up here, that would be really cool. And I wonder if it does, because Toronto and New Orleans, I believe, are in the play-in, aren't they? Let's see. Yeah. So, I mean, the best case scenario is that Minnesota loses twice. And I think that would put them in the lottery. I'm not totally sure on that, so don't quote me. But wouldn't it be cool if we got 2 lottery chances out of this? That would be great. All right, guys. So the Jazz, by losing this game, they had to lose or they would have tied to Minnesota. They might have gone to the 10 and Dallas jumped them. So this was a big, important win for Utah, who stays at 9. Lost 2 of their last 8. They got the job done. Look at that. The only teams that did a better job was Portland and Detroit. So Portland successfully gets the 5. That's crazy. Honestly, I wish we'd have kind of done something like them, but at the same time, Portland is a joke. Portland is an absolute joke. So I guess good luck to them. And then I guess Dallas gets the 10. They're being investigated by the NBA because they're not as good as subtly tanking as Utah was. Anyways, now we can rest easy. Number 9 is locked in, and we're in the tier of getting one of those good, solid players. So let's see where, if the lottery was today, the last day of the season, what did they get? Likely the last time we do this. This is it. This is it. It's like our own actual lottery. What happens? What will happen? Let's see. It's time. Was it all worth it? No, we don't jump. Orlando jumps 5 spots to get Victor Wembanyama. 2 years in a row getting the number 1 overall pick. Wow. Detroit falls 2 spots. San Antonio has a terrible year. It falls to 4, and Houston goes to 5. What a disaster that would be for Houston. Oh my gosh. And Portland falls to 6. But that means Utah stays at 8, and I think they still have Utah with Grady Dick. Like we said, this is not going to happen. I do not want Grady Dick. I want Cam Whitmore or Kasem Wallace or Taylor Hendricks. Any of those guys over Grady Dick, or Jarris Walker, or Anthony Black. Anyone but Grady Dick. Any one of these guys. Honestly, from 6 through 11. And the nice thing about number 9 is 2 of those guys will be there. That's what you get solidified now. Because guess what? You don't win the lottery, you still get the 9, which is a big deal. It's a big deal. And the Jazz made it happen. And now they just got to do their homework. That's the other thing. And we may do videos about this too. The Jazz have workouts that will be happening now. Lots of guys coming in. It's going to be fun. I mean, Jarris Walker is going to come in for a workout for Utah. That's going to be cool. And who knows? Maybe Danny Ainge does try to trade up. I don't think anyone's trading back in this draft. Like, maybe the Magic? Maybe? I don't know. Like, Washington? Maybe? I guess if they sign and trade for Jordan Clarkson and we take their pick and we give them a, I don't know, maybe, but I think the Jazz just keep their pick and then they pick like from either Jarris Walker to Kasem Wallace. That's kind of basically the guys you're looking at. And then look, Jalen Hood-Schifino is actually pretty interesting. He is a solid big point guard prospect. He's 6'6", fits kind of what the Jazz want. And if they got him at 16, I'm not mad at that. He's pretty good. Go look at the film. It's not going to like blow you away. He just looks like a good basketball player, you know? And if that's what the Jazz get, pretty good, because that type of player might do pretty well under Will Hardy. Don't you think? I think so. Anyways, guys, let's just give a shout out to our All-Stars. Thank you so much. By the way, another shout out to Danger FC for joining. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate it. All right, let's give a shout out to the All-Stars. Oh, man. Final show, and I still didn't get it right. Okay, let's give a shout out to Baby Elliot Matson, Ezekiel Raisibe, the man Fernando. Oh, can't lose music. Baby Elliot Matson, Ezekiel Raisibe, See Ya, Alexa Later, Built Ford Tough, Alexander Tufts, Jorge Arrizaga, mi amigo de abajo, Jordan the Goat Besserell, Just Buckets JB, Zap Watts, TG Zap Watts, who's been so incredible on SLC Dunk. Thank you, Zach, for all you do. TGD, Total Game Domination, Christian House Money to Haas, Tyson Price, The Price is Right, X Marks the Spot Presentus, Austin R. Grant, Editor Extraordinaire, DW to CB, Darren Williams to Carlos Puzer, Patrick Kukubo, the Connoisseur, and Robert Hall of Fame. Guys, like and subscribe to the channel. I will talk to you next time, next season.